Hi guys, and welcome to Escape Wheel Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the Octopus Kraken model Q006. So I received this watch from a channel subscriber, so a huge thanks goes out to Dan. I will drop his Instagram link down below, so be sure to give him a follow. Also tell him thanks in the comments. He's always down there chit-chatting. So thanks again, Dan. I really appreciate you lending the watch to me for review. I know I've been curious about it for quite a while, and I'm sure others have as well, so I'm sure we all really appreciate it. The current retail price for this watch is $288, and that's before any discounts or sales. Octopus Kraken, they do go on sale from time to time, so it's definitely worth waiting for a big sale. If you're thinking about picking this one up, you'll be able to save a pretty good chunk on this one, I think. This watch is available in two different dial and bezel layouts that you can see here. Just keep in mind that both the dial and the bezel are different on these watches, so yeah, you just got to pick and choose which one you like. I really like this setup though. The watch case is made of 316L stainless steel. It has a sapphire crystal, screw down crown, screw down case back, 300 meters of claimed water resistance. It comes on this really nice rubber strap, and it is powered by your choice of a PT5000 or SW200 automatic movement. So this is a watch that I've had my eye on for a while now, but I just couldn't ever pull the trigger. It's just a little bit too high a price for what I think it was worth or what I thought it might be worth. So yeah, I was always a little hesitant about it. I love the look of it. And now that I have it in hand, yeah, I do like it a lot. There's a lot to like about this watch, but it isn't perfect. So let's find out where it falls a little short. Before we get into the full review, do a quick wrist check today. Wearing my Escapement Time Classique dress watch. Link for that will be in the upper right corner. All right, let's do the dimensions. We've got a bezel diameter of 40.3 millimeters, case thickness of 13.4, 20 millimeter lug width. Lug tip to lug tip is 45.8, and on the supplied rubber strap, it weighs just under 91 grams. So I think the size for this thing is great. 40 millimeters at the bezel. You can see if you look down the case here, the case is actually slimmer than that, but it's hard to measure just because it kind of undercuts itself completely. So the widest part is just over 40 millimeters. It wears really good, really short lug to lug. You got some nice turn down to those lug tips there. It wears really well. It's very comfortable. I've got no issues with the way this thing wears. So I'm going to go outside right now and throw it on my wrist for you. And here we are on my 7.5 inch wrist, and as you can see, it wears great. If anything, I think it wears a little bit smaller than the 40 millimeter. Yeah, I mean, it's excellent. I got no issues with the way this thing wears. Decent little turn down to the lugs there. It's nice and comfortable. I mean, it's a very, you get that undercut in the case there, so it's very comfortable. I got no issues with it digging into my wrist or anything like that. Nice weight, nice strap. I've got no issues with it. And lots of light play off of the bezel, off the crystal, fully polished case. I mean, it's a beautiful looking watch, that's for sure. And popping out into some direct sunlight. Here you can see, still very legible. Got no issues with it. I mean, if anything, it looks more beautiful in direct sunlight than it does in the shaded area. So, very happy with the overall look on this thing and the comfort. It's great. I got no issues, but I'm going to go throw down some straps and then we can get back to this review. And here we are on a vintage leather strap. This will be linked down below. That looks pretty good. Black with the kind of khaki stitching. Really matches that faux patina pretty good, I think. I think that actually looks pretty good. Not my favorite, but yeah, looks good. What do you guys think? And here we are on a suede strap. This is from AliExpress. And yeah, not my favorite, actually. Yeah, just not really feeling that one. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, here we are on a Riche. This is like an army green canvas strap. I think that actually looks pretty good. It kind of brings out the like a greenish tint to those bezel numerals. But yeah, I do think that looks pretty good. What do you guys think about that one? And here we are on a Milanese mesh. I think that actually looks pretty good. Kind of gives you an idea of what maybe a shark mesh would look like on it too. So I do. I actually like that one. I think it's pretty good. Surprisingly, but yeah, that looks very shiny, but nice. Figured throw some color at it today. Kind of got some red on the dial, so bright red Perlon. These links are down below. Very comfortable straps, and I think that looks pretty good. Got a little bit of a McDonald's vibe to it, but yeah, not too bad. What do you guys think? There's one layer underneath the watch. And here we are on a ribbed nylon strap. We got 2 layers underneath the watch there. Still sits pretty nice, very comfortable, and I think that does look pretty good. This is one from AliExpress, but I would suggest just getting the ones from CNS watch bands. Those are my preferred ribbed nylon straps. But yeah, that does look really good, actually. Got one last strap, though. And lastly, here we are. This is on my Hamilton khaki field leather NATO strap, and I think that looks really, really good. Very happy with that look. What do you guys think? All right, let's go back inside. Let's get back to this review. All right, so let's talk about the case finishing on this thing. And the case finishing is done really well. It's super simple though. It is a fully polished case. So you can see here the polishing on the tops of the lugs, really nicely done. Down to the polished sides here, polished crown guards. I mean, every surface on this case is polished. So it's a very shiny watch. You've got your signed Octopus crown there, which I love their logo. I think it looks really good. Very happy with that. The crown, fully polished. And yeah, I mean, the polishing job that they did on this is excellent. As you can see right here, super smooth. I see no issues with the polishing. This is as good as I've seen on any watch. So very happy with that. You can even see on the bottom of the lugs here, fully polished there. Case back is also fully polished except for the middle part here. You've got this really cool octopus with the anchor and the chain. It's a really cool logo. Very happy with that. You might notice it looks a little funny, and that's because the sticker is still on the back. I don't know if Dan meant to keep it on there, so I didn't want to take it off. But yeah, it's a very cool looking case back. You got your spec sheet around the outside, and I think everything looks really good. You've got your simple notches to get a tool in there. Yeah, I see no issues with this thing at all. I think it looks awesome. I think it wears awesome. I'm very happy with it. Okay, so let's talk about the bezel. And the bezel is one of my favorite parts of the watch, although this is also where one of the faults are. So let's talk about the bezel insert. So the bezel insert is sapphire. I actually tested it with my diamond selector. So it is a sapphire insert. It is fully loomed. And like I mentioned, the other model of this, it doesn't have any of the minute marks all the way around. I like it with all the minute marks. So the other one is just slightly different than this one. But yeah, either way, you get a fully loomed bezel insert. And it looks really, really good. It kind of has a bubble top to it there. So, I mean, when you get at certain angles, you get really cool reflections on this thing. I mean, it's a really cool bezel insert. I'm very happy with it. Again, fully loomed. I like the big numerals at the 15, 30, and 45 there. The alignment is just spot on, as you can see there. I've got no issues with the bezel insert. I think it looks really cool. So my problem with the bezel is the bezel action. First off, there's absolutely no grip to it. So if you look at the side of the bezel, it's just a smooth surface. So you have these little teeth here, but that's only on the top edge, and you can't really grip the bezel that way. So yeah, I know the original that this watch is an homage to, it's the same way, and they had the same complaints with that one. You just couldn't get any grip on the bezel. But you can turn it. It just takes a little bit more effort. It takes a little bit more squeezing. But nice and solid clicks, as you can, really clicky, very loud. Good resistance, I think, even with the, I guess I would prefer it to be a little bit lighter just because there's no grip on it. But I think the resistance is fine. You're never going to knock this thing. But yeah, very solid, 120 click, unidirectional. It is rock solid. I mean, no play in the bezel at all. It doesn't rock, it doesn't bounce, nothing like that. The one area where I noticed an issue is between 6 o'clock and 3 o'clock. The clicks sound a little weird, so I'm going to let you listen to it. So I was hearing a little bit of a double click there. It does feel just a little bit different too, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. It's just not perfect, but overall I am pretty satisfied with the bezel on this thing. There's absolutely no play. I think it looks really cool. It sounds really cool. Yeah, really overall a pretty decent bezel. All right, so let's test the crystal for you. So there is the crystal. Here's the bezel insert. There you go. Both are sapphire, and it's a really nice crystal. It's a top hat sapphire crystal. As you can see, you do have a little bit of distortion there, and what that tells me is that there's just a little bit more curvature on the top than there is on the bottom. So yeah, you get nice distortion, but you still get, even at pretty steep angles, you get very clear dial. I think it looks really good. Lots of distortion on the edges. You get that nice blue AR coating. It does a really good job of keeping this legible. I've got no issues with the blue AR on this model. I think it does look pretty good. And overall, I am pretty happy with that crystal. I mean, it just looks really cool. That side profile there with the bubble on the insert and the bubble on the crystal itself, I think it looks really cool. All right, so let's talk about the dial on this thing, and the dial is really nicely done. You can see right about there, it's a deep glossy black dial. It looks absolutely beautiful. There are two dial variations on this. So this one has your diamond at the 12 o'clock, batons at 6 and 9, and then circles everywhere else. The other model has square or rectangle indices with a little bit of red on it. So yeah, two different layouts for this thing. This one's got the no radiations logo on the dial. It's nice and big and bold. I kind of like it. It's cool. Obviously there's no radioactive material on this dial, but yeah, I like that they put that on there. Just makes it look a little bit different, a little bit special maybe. Yeah, pretty happy with it. The dial printing is nice and crisp. Octopus Kraken logo there at the 12 o'clock position. Some people like it, some people hate it. I'm kind of in the middle. It doesn't bother me at all. You got a nicely framed date window there at 3 o'clock. The handset on this thing is really nicely done, painted white, so I'm glad they didn't do a polished handset. Really nice white handset against the dark black. It's super legible. It looks great. It looks really, really good. You can see the mismatch in the Lume color here. The dial is definitely a couple shades darker than the hands, and then the bezel is actually a different shade too. So you got 3 different shades of Lume on there. So that's kind of an issue. But I'm more disappointed in the Lume in this watch in general. So I'm going to pop up a Lume shot right now, and here you can see it against a couple other watches in the collection. And the initial burst is pretty impressive, but then, I mean, the dial and hands, they fade pretty much instantly. The bezel does hang on, but at this point it's pretty much worthless. So yeah, the Lume on this thing, it's not horrible, but it's really, really not a highlight of the watch. All right, so let's talk about the movement in this thing. So I'm going to pop up the time grapher shot here, and you can see this thing's running good, running really good. I got no issues with it. This one is running the PT5000, 21,800 beats per hour. It hacks, hand winds, roughly 40 hours of power reserve. Yeah, I've got no issues with it. So the movement is operated by this 3 o'clock screw down crown. Again, nicely signed logo here. The crown is a little bit slippery, but I haven't had too much of an issue getting grip on it. Definitely could be better, but it's not bad. The screw in, screw out action seems fine to me. Nice solid resistance on that screwing in action. That's kind of what you get from the PT5000. The first position here does your date changes. Second position is your time setting position, hacks the second hand there. And this is where you can set your time. It acts just like any other PT5000 that I've had. I've got no real issues with it. The screwing in action here, I do have to do a little rotation back. That's mostly because I'm trying to be super careful with this since it's not my watch. But yeah, I think the threading is nice and smooth. You get lots of resistance though, because you are winding the watch while you are screwing it in. So yeah, definitely not as smooth as some watches are, but not too bad. All right, so let's talk about the strap on this thing. And the strap is awesome. Really like the strap. It's 20 millimeters. It tapers down to 18 millimeters at the buckle. You got two floating keepers here. Nice solid buckle with the Octopus Kraken logo on there. Fully polished, nicely finished. I've got no issues with that. You got infinite amount of adjustability on these holes here. It's nice and it's breathable. It's soft. It's flexible. It's a very solid feeling material. It's an FKM rubber. I've got no issues with it at all. It's one of my favorite straps I've had. It's a great strap. I kind of want to buy one myself, just to use on other watches. So I'm going to see if Octopus will actually sell this one. But yeah, really nicely done. I've got no complaints whatsoever. It even has quick release. Man, it's a good strap. Very good strap. You're not going to want to throw it away at all. So there you go, guys. That is the Octopus Kraken model number Q006. I really do like this watch. If you guys are interested in purchasing this watch now, I'll be leaving a link down below. That is an affiliate link. I really appreciate it if you would use that link to purchase it. I get a little commission. You get the nice watch. Everybody's a winner. I'll keep doing what I'm doing. And yeah, we'll go on to the next watch. Huge thank you goes out to Dan. Give him a shout out down below for sending in this watch. If anybody else wants to lend the channel a watch, I'd be happy to work with you. Most of the time you got to be in the United States, otherwise it just doesn't make much sense. So if you are in the US, contact me. I'll put my email right down here on the bottom here, and we can work something out. So I usually give freebies to people who lend watches to the channel. So if you guys want some freebies, drop your link down below. Let me check out what watches you have, and yeah, we'll make some reviews. We'll have fun. And I think that's about it, though. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.